Hey everybody, I'm back with another trailer reaction. This popped up earlier today. Scream 6. I mentioned many times before, I'm not much of a horror guy. I think my favorite horror movie has been like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because it kind of harkens to a lot of horror stuff involved in that. Sam Raimi just completely unleashed, and I just love that. But other than that, I've always had a love for the Scream franchise. It's probably the only slasher I probably cared about. I've seen other horror films, but I'm not like a horror person. I'm not like got that kind of crazy love for horror, for the horror genre, like most horror fans. Because as I've been told, as many horror fans out there are just like the sweetest people you ever meet. Uh, but I just can't get. I don't like getting paid to be scared. I don't go to the theater to see horror films. Like the 2020 Invisible Man movie, that was pretty good horror film. But I watched that when it was streaming. Well, probably had no choice because the whole pandemic situation. But uh, I usually, if I am interested in a particular thing that's horror esque, aside from Doctor Strange 2, I wait until it's on streaming or cable so I can watch it. That way I can skip over the whole horror, you know, jump scare bull crap. Uh, I know I sound like a big baby, but I'm not that much into it like that. But I do have a reverence for the Scream franchise. This past Halloween, I reviewed the first Scream movie. You can check out my full review of the first Scream movie up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkative Carl. You can follow me in the links in the description. I don't just review movies, but I also review TV shows, comic books. But the bulk of my time is usually uh, streaming video games. So you can check out my Twitch channel as I go live, and I probably will be going live later on tonight, playing a little bit more Gotham Knight because I want to wrap that up. Uh, and I only fairly recently wrapped up God of War Ragnarok, so you can check out my full-on walkthrough on my YouTube channel. Uh, but I have played Dead by Daylight, and my main is Ghostface. Despite how kind of difficult for me to use him, I still like that character. I like the concept of that character. And so anyway, without further ado, let's just check out this teaser trailer, Scream 6. And eventually I will get around in reviewing the other Scream films, not all at once, but every once in a while. Because next year for Halloween I will review Scream 2, but at some point I will be reviewing all of it in its completion. And it's supposed to be coming out next year, so I won't go to the theater to see it, but I will when it comes available on streaming to see this film because I am intrigued. Oh, it's set in the big city. Isn't shoot. Uh, the first Scream movie, in the last one film, it says she lived in New York. Jenna Ortega is here. She's having a big year after
Guys?
Wednesday's show. Big year. Okay, that will be extremely interesting. I'm blinking on Naomi Campbell's character in the Scream franchise, but in the last film, it was mentioned she lived in New York, but I don't think I like to say they won't go back to her anymore because now we've got to focus on some brand new characters. I think it's very interesting that now we're not in Woodsboro anymore, whereas everything's a little bit more confined. I think people would get kind of sick of being stuck in the same place with the same slasher villain, hunting another group of college or high school kids. So now you're in the big city of New York, where the Ghostface costume, like every Halloween, is always people in the Ghostface costume. Uh, it's probably the most well-known costume ever in the history of well, ever since the freaking 90s. That's become one of the most popular costumes ever. But now it's kind of like taking that love for that costume, and now you're in the big city, and literally everybody's dressed like that, so it's hard to pin down, even harder to pin down who this killer would be. There's always somebody close to the main. I think they'll probably speak on that more than likely, because Scream always brings up about movie tropes and stuff like that. That's part of the fun. So you're going to have some other Jamie Kennedy-esque character to let you know what's, going on. So it's like they're going to have to point out that, because they did that in the previous two films, that is typically, well, it's not even just the past two films. Like, ever since the second film moving forward, they always point out, like, the killer is usually somebody intrinsically tied to the main person. So more than likely, Jenna Ortega, who is currently being Wednesday in the TV show, she's having like a great year, uh, in Hollywood right now. She obviously is going to be like the main character. So somebody's going to be intrinsically tied to her that's going to be more than likely the killer. But yeah, set in a big city, that is a very new thing. And I think this is next Halloween is gonna be like filled with a lot of Scream. That's gonna be probably the number one Halloween costume. It's already been like not maybe number one, but near the top. It's always been near the top, like top 5 at the very least of usable costumes or sought out costumes every Halloween. But now it's gonna shoot up exponentially. It's probably not since like the first two films that costume has been used so often around Halloween. So now it's gonna be like number one. I just guarantee it. But anyway, let me know what you think of this trailer. Like, how excited are you? Are you gonna be the first one in the theater? Are you kind of a scary cat like me who don't like horror films like that, and just gonna wait until it's out for streaming? Leave a comment below, and I will see you guys